It'll take 2 seconds. We'll have it. Microphone H6. Okay. All right. Check one. Now we're back. Okay. Now we have audio, and now we just do the little thing. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the DJ Life podcast. Totally not on a take 2 because of technical difficulties as always, but we're back in the studio.
Bro, I was like, do I put energy into this or is it going to get fucked up?
I don't know.
like,
Save your energy once again.
Okay, they hear us. So.
Absolutely. We're good now.
All right.
But
There's one of those.
as I was saying before we got cut off, we're joined by birthday boy Cooper Brown in the building. We were cool enough that he wanted to spend his birthday with us on the podcast, which is pretty dope. Cool deal. So we all just got back from Midwest just a couple weeks ago. Was it a couple weeks ago? How long
It feels
ago was
like it was
I
literally
feel like it was
last
yesterday.
night. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I've been on the go just 24 fucking 7 since
Yeah.
before Midwest, honestly.
Yeah.
Midwest was even like a...
Oh, well, on my end, like Midwest was literally like moving at 1,000,000 miles per hour, and also I don't feel like I slept for more than 2 hours the whole trip. Yeah.
What'd you
crazy.
think? What'd you think, Coop?
What'd you think of Midwest?
I didn't know it was your first time. Oh. Well, I thought Salt Lake City was a hub, like one of those Delta hubs or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I like Midwest. Midwest is one of my more ones I'm going to suggest that others go to. You know, it's very informational packed, like you said. People are not. It's not a big dick measuring contest. I mean, there's a little bit. You can't be a DJ and not have a little bit of dick measuring going on, but it is tame. It is the tamer version. It is, and. So Midwest is good, and there's still some products, you know, you can still buy shit, and that's still happening. But the production is like, oh, like, God, that video wall, I was like, damn, that's why I walked in. I was like, Chris, like, is this you? Holy shit. Like, I've never actually seen him work before. You know what I mean? I mean, they're big time. I mean, I don't know if you do shit like that or not. That's just not any. Uh-huh. Have you heard him before? One one notable thing about Allan Berg, because everyone knows he is a sales guru. Like, you listen when Allan starts talking, because I usually agree. There are things I do disagree on, but
I agree.
but he gives you new information every time, which is strange because usually the people that you are recycling, I'll call it recycling, like those speakers,
all the time.
it's like me, I'm going to be talking about fucking email marketing and automation and shit like that. And it's going to be kind of funny, and that's about the extent of it, But like Allan Berg, you can go a bunch of ways. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like I kind of always pull something new out of it, So that's good. That's cool.
Yeah. And he also talked about like simplifying your contract, making sure your contract isn't overwhelming. So basically making any barrier for anyone to not hire you, just make sure that barrier is not even there. So simplifying your contract, making it way shorter, putting your pricing and packages onto your website, which scares the heck out of me because I'm priced very premium in my market, and I'm scared to do that. I'm scared.
I'm not okay with it. I still don't agree. That is not something I'm gonna ever agree to.
What I started doing a year and a half ago is I still don't have pricing on my website, but once people reach out to me, then I now send my pricing in the first email, which I had never done before then.
I'll send it in the opening email. Yeah. But that's different.
Yeah.
I have your contact information, and I have more information at that point, and you go into my death grip of a follow-up system, and I want you in there. I don't want you to just be like, oh, $1,500, whatever the fucking price is. Oh, out of budget. No further thought.
Yeah.
I want to convince you. You know what I mean? And if I just tell you, that doesn't make any sense to me. That's still, I'll argue that one.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's no silver bullet. Like, just like you said, there's not everything that I agree with him. Although he is like a pro in the space and he's been around forever.
It's hard. It is tough to argue with the things that he says. It is very. That makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? But that would be one thing. If I were to argue, that would be it. I can't remember his stance on automated messages, but that if he has anything negative, you know what I mean? I don't believe in that either, as you know. I'm all down for some automated messages.
Totally. Hopefully Rick's giving us the nod that the audio sounding good now.
Yeah, I think this. I don't know.
For those that just joined, we had a little bit of audio problem at the very beginning, but we're good now, Rick.
Yeah, it's the same H6 problem we had back when I tried to swap it to fix the hissing noise, and no one could hear the person speaking on his end. But I fixed it. I don't know what I did, but I tried some stuff and it works now, so that's all that matters.
Yeah,
we're good, man.
Moving on.
But anyways, what are you guys talking about?
We're talking about Allan Berg and how awesome. Allan Berg. How many times have you seen him rough stomach?
Like actually paid attention to him or seen him?
Paid attention. A seminar. How many times have you seen him do a seminar?
Again, seen his seminar or actually paid attention to his seminar because he preaches the same shit every time.
That's what I was going to say is if you pay attention, he doesn't. He doesn't preach the same shit every time. And that is different. That's what I'm actually giving him credit for. On top of Allan Berg is at this point a friend of mine, so I wouldn't talk shit anyways. But he might have like a similar message, like be more involved in general, but I don't know. I pull out different nuggets of sales advice every time I hear him talk, basically, which is not a common feature.
I am curious on your question though, on what is his stance on automated messages.
I don't want to speak for him because I've definitely heard his stance before, but I want to say he's against it, or at least it's like.
And I think he said he has something like that, but it's like one message and that's it. But when you're scaling and you don't want to be on your phone all the time or your email, I think it's necessary.
Well,
I think
it's absolutely necessary. That's all there is to
like
it.
Those prompts, those automated prompt questions, like check-in questions or
it's
prompting questions.
It is for opening the door to
it's
talk.
A prompt.
It's just like, hey, are you ready to talk? And if they're not, they clearly just move on, and that's fine.
Ignore you. Yeah.
It's not like I'm gonna fit all of this text into this automated message that like is trying to have a conversation. It's the automated message is, hey, are there any updates? And then if they respond, you, the human, not some robot, goes with it.
I should have Hannah read Allan Berg's book.
Oh, I mean, yeah, Allan Berg
Dude,
does.
I think anyone who is helping you guys in your business should read the book. I actually was just talking. I have a new executive assistant on my production company who started yesterday, and I definitely plan on having her read 2 of his books that I have, as well as Mitch Taylor's sales book that he launched 10 years ago. I remember that was the very first book I ever read like 8 years ago that I actually invested money into education to help me learn to
Right.
grow my business more.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, Allan Berg has books like Shut Up and Sell More, Why Don't They Call Me, Why Are They Ghosting Me, things like that. So if you haven't ever read any of his books, just pick up one, and unless you are an absolute genius with business, I think you're going to learn a lot. So
Yeah,
everyone should definitely invest $20 and just buy one of his
It
books.
really is impossible to not pull out like some nuggets that are at least in the back of your mind while you're talking. Like
Yeah.
through a sales thing, if you're making a decision about how you're about to go about it, Allan Berg is in the back of your mind, and when you make that decision,
Yeah,
So at the
totally.
very least,
The first time I heard Allan Berg, I literally went back and redid every single email, every single text message, everything, because I was the typical DJ talking about gear and not
Yeah.
what the gear can do for the client.
Yeah, and talking about books, there's some books that I've read recently that are really, really helpful. I'm not a big book reader. I listen to audiobooks.
Same.
But there's a book called The One Thing. And people will go, oh, like, just from the title, I already know what it is. I don't need to read it. Definitely still read it. So The One Thing basically talks...
Gary Keller
that sounds right, yeah.
and Jamie.
The One Thing... What's the tagline to it?
The surprising simple truth behind extraordinary results.
Exactly. That's the book. I read that and it was so stellar. Basically, in summary, but still read it, is if you sit down at the beginning of your week and you say, what is the one thing that I can do this week or this month or today that will move the needle more than anything else?
Yes.
You need to focus on that thing because everything else is noise.
Yep.
Literally everything else is noise.
Yep.
And I have such a long to-do list during every single day that I find myself getting like the lower hanging fruit done or the things that I think are most
Constantly.
pressing,
The easy
the
stuff.
fires.
The easy
But
stuff.
yeah, the easy things. But then what I don't do is I didn't try to hire someone for 6 months, even though I really needed to. That was the one thing I needed to do was hire someone. And it took me 6 months because I kept putting that off. And so the one thing was a great book.
day, dude. I could bitch and bitch, and I would place the blame on everyone but myself. I swear to God, I would do it. But I sit here just thinking like, damn it, I do the same fucking shit.
This is
You know what I mean? Like, of course it's no one else's fault.
Yeah.
so. Do you make a daily list at all?
Yeah, totally. So my team and I do daily lists, weekly lists.
And-
I want to start doing more monthly, but I don't. But yes, definitely daily and weekly. And since reading that book, I now prioritize. Okay, if there's only one thing I could do this week, it's the one thing.
Yeah, we use that. We use time boxing. I teach all of our team members to do time boxing, and it's like, so you write down all of the shit you need to do that day, and then you take the 5 minutes, and normally you're supposed to do it the night before, but write out all the stuff you need to get done, then pull out the top 1 to 3 things, and those 1 to 3 things need to be in the first half of your day before noon. They need to be done before noon because if you don't, you won't do them. And they're normally those things you're talking about right there, where it's the stuff that you don't do. Surprisingly, we don't do monthly lists. We do 90-day plans.
Yes, that's what I want to do. That's the next level. That's what I want to do.
And it's very simple. It's like just strategies. It's 3 goals. Pick 3 goals, and each 3 goals need to have metrics and then strategies. So KPIs and strategies for each one of those 3 goals you're trying to achieve. And normally all of them, the top goal, the number 1 goal is something related to either bookings or money. So book 50 events this quarter, or generate $100 or $1,000 in sales or something like that. And then they have KPIs below that where like to hit this many bookings, I need to have this many consultations, I need to have this many leads, I need to have this on weekly. So then they can track their KPIs on a daily, weekly basis. And we know if they're hitting their KPIs, they should be hitting the booking goal. And if they don't, then something's broken in the strategies that we're implementing.
That's cool. And something I love about both you guys is there are so many DJ companies that I think are just grinding, and they're just DJing, they're doing a good job, and they're responding to leads, and they're just kind of going through the process and the motion. And I feel like there's so much value when a DJ owner or a DJ themselves realizes, hey, like I actually have a legitimate business. This is a legit business making legit money with legit opportunity for growth, with the legit possibility of you retiring off of this business someday. And so I always hope that DJs see the value in that and like treat their business like a true business, like you're talking about,
Yeah.
and implement actual business strategies and treat your business like a business, not just a DJ thing.
Yeah. I mean that as soon as I start talking to someone, if that vibe goes towards like I don't even care to, you know what I mean? Like you're not,
Yeah.
I don't mean to like, but we're not in the same thing. Even if you are in the DJ world, we're not doing the same thing. So I don't really have anything in common. You know what I mean? Like at least I don't want to talk business because I know you don't know business.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll talk DJ shit for fun, you know, like whatever, but
and I like the fact that when you do, yes, the DJ portion is like the execution, which is what people focus on, is just like the execution of the event. But once you start moving into the business world and when you realize it's just all a bunch of numbers and you can tweak the dial here or there, and then you can basically make what you want out of the business. You can grow it.
Yeah. Well, once you have the data, like you said, like you know how many leads you need to make $100,000. That's just all there is to it. And okay, rounded, you know, general idea. But like once you know your numbers like that, you can pull the levers which way need to be pulled. You know, like like our closing rate sucks. Okay, well that's the part we need to think about. You know, it's like we have enough leads, we just need to focus there. How can we do that? And then that equals, you know, the quickest way to more money versus
What's interesting,
more.
Eric, is I think a lot of DJ company owners or solo ops don't even like know what their closing rate is. They actually couldn't answer that question of how many leads do I need.
Well,
anyways, I think everyone should just sit down and do the math. And whether you have a CRM or you're doing it manually, just check your inbox, do the math, see how many you booked, and find out what your closing rate is.
I couldn't even sit here and act like I could spit all those numbers, you know, but it is it's on the radar though, you know, like yes, we
can go grab that number.
Right. We can
monitor
do
that
some
number.
shit and I can come up with the numbers that I need and we do check it and whatnot. I'm not like Rick. We're not like Rick. I just am not that dialed in yet. You know?
I'm becoming way more dialed in now that I'm a part of a group called Mentor Pods, which is led by Matt Radicelli. And I now know my numbers 10 times more in depth than I ever did before because of what he and Amy have been teaching and the frameworks and the Google Sheets and everything that they've been giving us. And so I now feel way more in control. Like I know what's going on. And it's been very cool to see these numbers at a high level and also very granular just because of these things that I've been learning. So shout out to Mentor Pods. It's been awesome. It's been really cool.
It has good.
It's been really cool what Matt did with that because he took basically what I'm going through with Action Coach, which is basically business 101 in a way, and he's applying it to DJ businesses specifically.
Yeah.
I've learned a ton, but I also signed up at a bad time in my own life. So like,
I remember you saying that.
I'm glad that I am getting all of the information and I can revisit it when I'm ready to revisit it. Cause I just was not ready to learn that much shit. Like, oh my God.
How long is a pod course? Like, how long is it set
12
to be?
months.
A year.
12 months. That's
Yeah.
aggressive.
Yeah,
And they meet every week for an hour, and it's been stellar. It's been such a great investment.
It is great.
It's been cool.
I mean, yeah,
That's
price wise is whatever. That's a joke, honestly. You learn so much. Fuck you if you think it's too expensive, basically.
I'm a big fan of like 12-week courses, like every week for 12 weeks, and then you're out.
I mean, you learn.
Yeah.
They're covering everything. Like
I know it's just the pace is like it's such a there's so much that could happen in 12 months that like would pull you out of that focus.
That's my problem. Is it stacks off of previous things you've learned, and I cashed out the first week. Like I was like gung ho for like half an hour. You know, and it's my own fault, and I know that, and they're great, and all the lessons I really need to know it, and I know that, but I'm just not. I can't homework shit. I was not ready for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's where I'm kind of like that's like my only thing with like mentor. But I wouldn't do it because I'm already a lot of the stuff that's in there. I'm already learning.
Yeah.
So,
totally.
but like for it to be 12 months is like it's so.
Well, Graham Graham
commitment
left.
wise. It's such a huge commitment.
Graham left the month I started Mentor Pods.
Oh yeah.
So it was like we walked in with, all of a sudden everything's in shambles. I have to focus.
Someone from your
Sorry.
team left.
It was the guy that ran everything.
He had to
Dude,
replace.
that-
Yeah.
That is tough.
It was
Man,
the guy left.
can I just say what's not talked about enough in business is how sucky being a business owner sometimes is.
It's all the time sucky.
Like I had an awful last month. I'm not talking just revenue, but like emotional and past people who used to work for me and clients who didn't hire us again and just so much stuff that went on, and my Google business listing got taken down because we moved warehouses, and oh my gosh, last month was so awful. And I feel like on Facebook and LinkedIn, everywhere else, like people see entrepreneurs as like this gold standard of, wow, I want to be like you someday. But people like rarely talk about how hard it is.
No, dude. It's because entrepreneurs are like the new age rock stars. Like, no,
They're the
people,
new YouTuber.
people,
It's the new YouTuber.
It's YouTube and the influencer thing that like, just flip crypto and buy a Lamborghini and I'm 17 with my shirt off. Shit like that is the reason entrepreneurship is so like,
it's
such like a thing now.
It's because no one's filming. I mean, I'm guilty of this too. No one films the in the shit stuff leading up
like
to
the
where
hours,
those guys are.
the hours of crying in your room by yourself. No one films that part.
I feel I actually pride myself in somewhat staying real on YouTube. It, not like in the video, but like at the end of the video when I'm like talking personally to the people about like, what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff you just can't talk about on there too that like you can talk in a 1-to-1, but like on the public side,
You wouldn't want it on the internet.
I can't talk about the details of what's going on with a couple of my employees right now that are really causing me to be more involved in the company because they're dealing with shit and I'm trying to help them deal with shit. And still, we're trying to run a company. It's like,
and I'll be honest, like, even hearing that awesome people like you guys are going through crap, like, makes me feel good. Not because I'm bummed you're going through it, but it's like we're in this together.
Right.
Like we have so many other things we could be doing right now than just on this podcast, but we're here. And I've started getting this habit last year where people see me on Facebook and Instagram, and I have a great social media manager who helps me look really cool. And like I'm always, gigging and doing cool weddings, but really I'm posting photos from like 2 years ago and making them look cool. And people will see me, at stores or whatever, say, "Oh, Cooper, you're like killing it, like holy cow." And I say, thank you so much. Like it's been really tough, it's been really hard, and it's been really stressful to be honest, but it's been a great journey, and I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot. And so I've tried to start being more real in my responses to people, especially even at Midwest DJs Live, with people giving me comments similar to that. I'm like, yeah, thank you, but like it's been really tough. And so anyways, and for anyone else out there who's going through a hard time, if you're going through a dip in your personal life or business, like I'm there for you. It's tough.
Yeah. No, our my league coach, so she's got like a peer group, and we do monthly meetings and quarterly meetings. But like her biggest thing of why she does the monthly and quarterly meetings in person as a group is like she always says, business is hard, it sucks, and no one understands it other than other business owners. So we're creating a group here so we all can experience the suck and the growth together and be there to pick each other up.
Yeah. Talking about the suck, I don't want to bring up too many books, but I want people who are listening to be able to dive in deeper if you want to. There's another book that I've been reading called The Gap and the Gain.
I got that one.
You've read that?
I didn't read it. I did the Blinkist
I was
on
going to
it.
say, he Blinkist
The
it.
Blinkist.
I Blinkist
So
it.
it's
That one was
called-
good.
Okay, it's called The Gap and the Gain, The High Achiever's Guide to Happiness, Confidence, and Success. And it's a guy named Dan Sullivan who's like this strategic business coach who's been around forever, and then Dr. Benjamin Hardy, who's actually an alumni of my college, BYU. And dude, they go into so much depth about how to change your entrepreneurial mindset from I'm currently here, but I want to be there, and I'm not happy because I don't have that. There's this gap that is keeping me from being happy. But in reality, the target keeps moving. The target keeps moving every week, every month, every year, and you'll never be happy if you keep thinking that you'll be happy once you hit something. Mm-hmm. So this book has been transformative for me because I've now been thinking more in the gain. And when something doesn't go well, I go, okay, well, that's a bummer, but the gain is that I learned this. The gain is that now I realize I need to put a new process into place to fix this.
So they're saying the solution is to find a positive like out of no matter what, and that's the solution to that chasing the dragon shit. I'll call it chasing the dragon because that's like a drug set, like a drug addicted person's mindset, you know?
Yeah, of like, hey, once my business gets to this revenue, once I start booking gigs in this area, once I start getting to this level, once I start getting on this preferred vendors list, I'll then be happy. But then once you get there, you're not any happier.
Right. It sounds like every fucking kid you went to high school with that never turned their shit lives into shit, and they're like, oh, I hate that I'm still in whatever town it is. It's like, well, you're here because you like what? Like you suck.
Yeah.
Like I like where we live. Like I also went to your high school and also live in this city, and I'll say I've got it going on. So nah, it's you. Like,
yeah. But that book's been great for me, especially last month when I read it. I was like down in the pits, and that really helped me just go, okay, Cooper, like enjoy the journey. The gain is that I'm learning. The gain is that I'm growing. The gain is that my family's still doing great, and my wife is awesome, and like I've got my house, and like even if business isn't going phenomenal, there's still so much more that I'm gaining from these experiences. So for any of you who are feeling down like I was last month, definitely give that a listen.
Yeah, definitely. I always go to like audiobooks or Blinkist when I'm in that mode too. Like if I'm down or I don't have the encouragement or the drive that I need. That's what I go and like I'll listen to one or two of those and I'm instantly back in and just going crazy.
Yeah.
I have a constant anxiety that I'm going to crash and burn just everything, kind of, the whole company and as a whole.
I feel like everyone does. I do too.
If you really step back and think about it, like that would be really difficult. Like I don't even really know what you could do to literally just crash a multi-op. That would be hard. That would take a lot of
COVID
bad bullshit. Well, that is the reason it's in my mind, is because I've seen that so many times in my life.
But that's what you probably have 2 or 3 alternate strategies in your head right now as to what you would do in that scenario.
Sure, maybe, but it's like something like, all right, my dad was a contractor when the 2008 housing crap happened. It's like, all right, well, I watched that from the person that I relied on at the time. Fast forward COVID, it's like everything is pointing at you just did it the right way and everything's gold. Well, the only thing that could possibly stop the service industry was that, and it did. So it's like literally at this point, I'm just like, well, nothing's real. Nothing matters. Like, it's just like, I just hope that, that I don't know. So that anxiety's always in the back of my mind. No matter, you could tell me the most assuring thing in the world. I don't give a fuck. Like I'm still scared.
As a business owner, it takes a lot of fucking confidence to just like push forward with what it is you are doing and hoping it works.
Right. But another thing that bugs me about business owners is they're always looking for a pat on the back for choosing to be a fucking entrepreneur. And it's like, dude, you chose the path. Like, if it's so fucking hard that you're going to copy and paste whatever long ass Facebook status is going around, like, be an entrepreneur, we never talk about the hard side. Fuck off. Like, you chose this also. And like, if you're not making enough money to where it's worth it, get a different fucking job. Like it's your fault.
I think my part of entrepreneurs is that they always think there's a cheat code. They always think there's there's this cheat code's gonna make me millions. This cheat code's gonna make me millions.
And there are no cheat codes unless you're in the DJ world, because automateyourdjp.com is definitely a cheat code. You can check it out. It's
not overnight millions. Like they're looking for that one thing that's going to make them. If they're doing like, I don't even know what to tell you, but they're looking for that one thing that's going to get them 100x in a year, and 100x in a year does not exist.
They're always looking for the thing that's going to make them skip the line.
Yeah, they're looking for that.
They want to be Gary V tomorrow, or whatever the fuck entrepreneur they're looking up to. Yes, they said that your shit was good. Finally, by the way.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you been.
That was long ago.
Oh, okay, sounds good. I just got worried when I saw that.
It was only like 3 minutes total.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and the Gap in the Game talks about that. It's like you idolize these people who are at where they're at, but you can't you can't compare yourself because they had people, they had resources, they were born in a different community, they have different strengths. Maybe their parents were millionaires. Like I recently learned that someone in my area whose parents or whose grandparents owned a very big franchise, and that's where all their wealth came from. I'm like, oh, like I can't compare myself to where that person's at and I'm at because they had different resources available. It's just it's never fair to compare. Never fair to compare.
Yeah.
The game's not fair.
Yeah,
Right, life
exactly.
isn't fair. So go back to comparing.
So to switch things up, unless you want to keep talking about that,
Absolutely, switch it up.
I'm curious to know if you guys have had any crazy events happen or any cool events upcoming, or just crazy stories, either good or bad.
So immediately, as soon as you said that earlier, I was like, well, I know exactly what I'm gonna fucking talk about. So it wasn't the literal first DJ wedding that I DJ'd, but it was, it was in 2012 or something. It's years before I decided I was going to be a wedding DJ, but I was a club, quote unquote, bar DJ at the time. So went and did a friend's wedding and, groomsmen played a hardcore song. Groomsmen are dancing. Dude falls and breaks his leg. It's disgusting. There's like blood everywhere and a bone. Gross break. Wedding ends immediately. I was like, I don't give a fuck. Peace. Cool. Whatever. So fast forward like 10 years later, however many years later, I'm like outside of a fucking AA meeting and I'm telling this story about that and laughing about it. And chick was like, that was my brother that fucking broke his leg all those years back, and that now is my wife, that girl, and that's how we met. How crazy is that? Layers to that one.
That's a wild story.
Wild.
You never tell that story.
That's how I met Rachel.
Dude, I'll tell you what, it's a funny story to meet your wife. I always thought when I was DJing in college that I would like, I DJed lots of the college dances where we have like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 students. And I was always like, someday there's going to be this beautiful girl who like looks up at me and I look at her and we make this connection and then we get married. And when my wife met me and heard I was a DJ, she didn't talk about it at all for the first month or two we were dating because she thought it was a bad idea that I was a DJ. She thought it was not good. And so we didn't talk about it at all whenever I brought it up. And so opposite for me, I didn't meet my wife through DJing, even though I expected to.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool story, Rick.
No.
You
I'm
fuck up any
struggling.
weddings?
Or any cool gigs coming up, dude. I mean, you've been killing it with production. I know we were talking a couple months about equipment, and you've been doing lots of these
we got
production shows.
Oh, dude, I'm just so numb to it at this point. But it's like one of those things where like in it going crazy, but like I don't step back to realize, holy shit, we're doing Ashley Furniture, we're doing Ralph Lauren, we're doing like all these big clients, and if I just tell someone off the street that, like we got a corporate event for a couple thousand coming up for Ralph Lauren, that sounds actually pretty cool that we're doing a production for Ralph Lauren's event, and there's like a couple other. Probably, I'm really excited. There's an event coming up called Big Cars and Cats, and it's actually a charity fundraiser. But there's a guy here that he owns one of the hospital chains, and he also has hospitals in somewhere in the other part of the world. But he has just about every car you could ever imagine. He's got like 2 Lambos, 2 Ferraris. Wow. He's got a couple of Rolls Royces. He's got his own jet.
I'm so shocked.
But he brings all those cars. He brings all those cars to this event, and we're going to be doing the production for that event as well. And,
sick.
We also get to work with a really cool caterer that we work with all the time.
So you never like ruined anyone's wedding?
No, I've always.
We want to hear good things too. This is great, Rick. I'm proud of you, Rick. This is fantastic.
We pull growth out of everything. Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I can't. I've always struggled with that because I've never actually made a DJ mistake that I would consider as noticeably. Like I made mistakes, but I was able to correct them without anybody noticing.
Oh hell no! You gotta burn a wedding one day.
No.
It's just it puts hair on your chest. Honestly, you can't even call yourself a wedding DJ until
like
you fuck a wedding the fuck up.
Like
no excuses.
Like the worst thing I can possibly think about is like this was like early like high school DJ Rick. I did like a wedding. Everybody's literally in t-shirts and cargo pants and shit. Like it was 50 people, and there's no coordinator, of course. And I'm looking for a cue to play the Walking Down the Aisle song, and there's no cue, and I just start playing it. And then it was more. I didn't ruin it. The chick from the back, like her maid of honor, her best friend, walked out again in like jean shorts and a t-shirt, going, "She's not ready yet. Stop the song!" Just
Oh my
screams
God.
it. I'm like, okay, well, back it up,
Dude.
What about you? What's the worst thing you've ever done for a wedding? If you've never ruined one, I want to hear about at least the closest.
Okay, let me tell you what happened 3 weeks ago.
Okay, perfect. Even
so
better.
yeah, so I shout out to what's his face who talked at Midwest DJs Live, who talked on stage about a mistake he had made. What's that guy's name?
Washburn?
Who DJs
Chris
Washburn. Yeah, DJ Washburn.
I was just texting him.
He something I respect about him is he talked on stage about a big mistake that he had made, and he was super humble about it. So I'll be humble about this one. So it was my first wedding 3 weeks ago since probably first wedding this year, and there was 4 different setups. We had inside, we had cocktail, we had dinner, and then we came back to one of the spaces as well. And so for the dinner, I was playing off of my iPad that I play Spotify off of. That anyone can argue. I totally respect everyone's stances about playing off of Spotify. It's always worked for me the past 7 years I've been doing it. It's been phenomenal. And right as I do the grand introduction for the bridal party, I play their song, works perfect as it always has. And then right as I introduce the bride and groom, I hit their song on Spotify and it just loads. It's downloaded. It is downloaded. I've tested it. I've listened to it multiple times and it doesn't play. Thank goodness the cheers were so loud that no one noticed. But I definitely noticed it because there was no song after I introduced the bride and groom.
How long did it start? Did it start?
It never started. Thank you for saying it. It never started. And so,
Oh my God.
so
You just MC'd through that.
That's crazy. You had it
exactly.
pre-downloaded and it still did that.
I've never had that happen before.
I would have
And-
totally assumed that was fine.
Yeah,
I would have blindly
now-
been like, "This is the safe way." Yeah.
Yeah. Now my DJ booth was in a different room with my laptop and everything like that, and so typically it would happen there on my on my controller and my normal laptop, but in this case it didn't, and so that was a bummer. But I emceed my way out of it. I don't think anyone really noticed it, to be honest. After I reassess the situation afterwards, that was a bummer. So tip for everyone is just have a backup. So at my wedding last week, I had my 2 iPads just in case, and nothing happened. And I don't expect anything to happen. Two cool gigs that come to mind. You've mentioned this car company a couple times, Lamborghini. I'm DJing an event for Lamborghini this Friday. Nice. So they're launching a new car, and I'm not super into cars, so if anyone remembers what the model is, let me know.
It's
but
a
they launched a new
Lamborghini.
car.
It's a Lamborghini.
Yeah, Lamborghini.
It's probably electric.
It's an electric. It's an electric. And it launched. It was announced last month, and then here in Salt Lake, they're unveiling it this Friday to a group of VIP, probably really wealthy people. And so I'll be DJing that, and it's like an hour and a half. It's pretty short, and so I'll just be doing cool background music. And my goal is to create, like, for anyone who is corporate or hasn't gotten much into corporate, when you get into high scale corporate, they don't want a DJ playing music. They want a vibe, and they want their brand to come through the music. And so I just got another email today from a high-end corporate client, and like they want to create a musical experience that enhances their brand. And so same thing with Lamborghini, which is exciting for me because I'm not playing the top 40. Like none of it will be top 40. Yeah. None.
Right.
Because I'm trying to create a cool, elegant, high scale.
Yeah, you're just gonna download the top Beatport release,
But
100 hits of house music.
The funny part about that,
shuffle
though,
that.
like I've had those combos now a couple times with high ups in their companies that want to create a vibe or whatever. Come the day of the event, nobody fucking even notices. It's just these people are in such high level marketing positions that they have to do something to prove their worth, and crafting the perfect music that nobody even notices to some degree is like their top priority.
Yes, and I will say there comes a degree of people don't
pay.
notice things until they go wrong.
But they pay.
Yeah.
They pay really well, and they are paying for what you said, for it to not go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like when people talk about like how can you justify, when anyone is trying to raise their prices, they feel like they have to justify to themselves, why am I raising my prices? Or like, am I actually worth whatever I'm going to be charging? And talking about peace of mind, you can't put a number on that. If someone books you for their wedding in 9, 10, 12, 15, 16 months, and they are excited that they've got Rick as their DJ, and they're telling their friends, and when they're on social media and people ask recommendations, they're saying, "Oh, I had the best DJ in 6 months. It's Rick." That peace of mind is invaluable. You should feel comfortable charging that you are giving. You should feel comfortable that in your price is that peace of mind, and you can't really put an actual number on that, but you can feel confident to charge more if you're giving people that confidence.
And it's the same thing with corporate AV when they say, "Well, can you lower the price?" It's like, "Well, do you want it to work?"
Yeah.
And they're paying for that moment it goes wrong too.
Yeah.
They're not paying for it to go. They're not paying for you to sit there and just like make sure everything flows. They're paying you to sit there because something might go wrong, and you'll fix it before they even notice.
Yeah. Even charging a higher dollar end for a multi-op, honestly, because you can sell the peace of mind in a different way. Like, well, we have 20 DJs. Like, if your DJ breaks his leg 2 weeks out, you're still getting a good ass DJ, and it's like you know what I mean? And in a way is
that's peace of mind. That's peace of mind.
Exactly. Your DJ gets in a car wreck come the day and breaks all his gear and dies or whatever crazy shit. We got more.
Yeah,
you know.
You'll love this. We had a lead the other day, and Hannah just sent it to me and like wanted me to reply to it, and I started to reply, and then I read the last part and just deleted it, and just told her to say we're not the right client. But basically, she was scrutinizing our contract 100%.
As soon as that happens, we're done.
Wanted explanations on like why this, why that, what happens in this nation, what happens in this situation,
already
what happens in
too
this
red
situation.
flaggy. If it's not like just blind trust, I'm good.
They weren't like crazy requests. It was like, okay, I'll answer. And then I can't remember exactly what the last question was, but it was so over the top. Oh, it was, if we are unsatisfied with the services after the event happens, how would Fusion rectify the situation? And I just told Hannah the reply that if you are currently worried about if we're going to screw up the wedding, then you're looking for the wrong person. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Like if you are actively looking,
you're like looking for issues. Like if you're gonna seek out issues, you're gonna find them.
She's literally, that's what her stance was. And I read the last one that basically said, if we're unhappy with the services afterwards, how do we do it? I'm like, you are already looking for a refund.
Right.
So
and I was like, goodbye.
Sometimes people will be like, what is this like clause in the contract? I'm like, I don't honestly know. I was like, a fucking lawyer wrote it. I was like, it's some lawyer jargon to me. I don't know.
And no, we cannot remove it.
Yeah, but it's super necessary. I know that.
That reminds me of an experience I had years ago. I haven't thought about this in so long. So I totally respect DJs and business owners who don't have the ability to turn down clients because they just need the revenue. And I totally respect that. And, and I hope that everyone can get to a point one day where they can be more selective on their clientele.
Everyone's in a different shoes.
But this one clientele, it was an Indian wedding. It was a 2-day wedding. And it was my first Indian wedding. It was a very traditional Indian wedding too. It wasn't like just very traditional. And after talking to the bride and groom, the groom was a businessman, guru through and through. And I did not feel good about this. And so I sent him a quote after the call. And then like 2 days later, before they had signed it, I emailed and said, hey guys, I've been thinking a lot about it. I don't think I'm a good fit for you. I really apologize. I want to make sure you guys have the best experience ever, but I'm not that person. I get a call 30 minutes later from the groom, and he's like, Cooper, we knew you were our guy, but once I got your email being so honest that you were not our guy, and this wasn't his wording, this is what he meant. He said, I knew you were the right DJ for us. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, listen, we're not going to be a problem. We're going to be easy to work with. We'll help you with music. We'll give you playlists of all the Indian music we want. And I'm on the call and I'm not sure how to handle it. I'm like, I just fired you as my client, but now you're saying that because I said that, you're actually even like me, you like me more now. And so I ended up taking on the client and accepting it on the call because I didn't know what to do. I do the wedding 6-9 months later, however long it was, and it was exhausting. There was this one song. She had one song on her Do Not playlist, and I had another DJ come and shadow me who wanted to come and shadow me that night. And he's like, hey, have you played this Punjabi song? And I'm like, oh, I haven't. And he's like, dude, it's like the best Indian song ever. And I'm like, oh, cool. And so I put it on and I play it. And 10 seconds later, the bride comes stomping up to me. And she's like, this is the one song I told you not to play. And guys, I didn't even think about her Do Not playlist song because I was like, what are the odds I'm gonna play this? Like, I'm just gonna like play like whatever song.
You're like, it's
me.
some gibberish.
And
I don't know anything.
so that happened, but like that was like a minimal thing. But it was so stressful. Both days were so stressful. I didn't feel good about my performance because they weren't my ideal clientele. At the end of the day, I felt like a bum that they paid me as much as they did because I was like, I don't know if I gave that value. Mm-hmm. And so I learned from that moment on that when you fire a client, stick your ground because people like what they can't have. And so if someone can't have you, they might try to get you even more like this groom did. And I learned from that experience. So just like all entrepreneurs, we learn the most from our mistakes.
Mm-hmm. But your biggest thing right there that I like, and a lot of DJs could benefit from that, even with clients that are their clients, is have the conversations around music and transparency around the music they want to hear and do not want to hear up front. Yeah. And just conversations around what you do as a DJ. I get so many DJs that message me and say, I just got this 200 song list Spotify from the client and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know how. I'm like, you didn't have that conversation up front? Like,
yep.
You got to have those
set expectations.
Yeah, you got to set expectations in advance because you'll get in those situations where they send you a 200 song list in order, play in order.
Hey, honestly though, when they do that,
it makes your life easier.
Do it. You know, it's not that serious. Like I understand the argument of I'm trying to go be a rock star, but like that's not what they asked for.
But it works for you. It doesn't work when you're trying to create a brand that is
established. Doesn't do that.
Yes, that's established on the fact that
if your literal brand is we don't do that, okay, like that's going to step on your own toe.
I think that all comes down to the call that you have a couple weeks before the wedding or the corporate events when you're going in detail about everything. That's where you're like, hey, look, do you trust me? Can we refine this? A question I have for both of you is, do you guys have a must-play list or a must-play section you give your clients?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so I stopped doing that. And I altered it a couple years ago. The reason why I stopped doing that is some brides and grooms were requesting these songs that only they knew and no one else knew. And so I go to play their song at the peak hour because the bride and groom was in the middle of the dance floor. I play that song that no one had heard of, including myself, and it sizzled the dance floor. Yeah. And it happened like back to back on a few different weddings, even though I strategically placed it at this best part to give it the best possible opportunity to go well. And so now what I do is I do a top 5. It doesn't say must play because what I learned is that when I had a couple years ago who was like, hey Cooper, you didn't play like 2 of our must play songs, and it was because the songs.
Hey Cooper,
well, they're limited
because no one knew the song, so I didn't play them. And so the past 2 or 3 years on my Vibo app, which everyone should use Vibo. I know it's expensive. It's so fantastic. I've loved it. Look it up. Michael Muller and Jay are awesome. But anyways, I now have a top 5. Bride, top 5 groom, and it doesn't mean I'm going to for sure play them, but I'm going to do my best to put them in the best spot, and it has been emotionally really good for me to do that because this past week, the groom picked these songs that were like all 60, 70 beats per minute, all very like not known songs, and I played one of them, but the other 4 I didn't get to, and the expectations were set, and so he wasn't unhappy, and it worked for me. So.
What I always tell the dudes to like, look at the must plays. You'll know if it's some weird shit, and then just talk them into allowing it, not during dance time, basically. Just a different section of the evening. If they love Mumford and Sons or fucking the Allman Brothers, whatever the fuck, it's just some not dance music. Just play it during dinner and let them know that's why, be like, this isn't dance music, but I'm all for it. So we're going to play it when people aren't dancing because I want to hear it. I want you to have it. But it's not appropriate for rage moment.
Yeah.
Unless you think it is. And if you think it is, then I will do what you want, because sometimes there's that one song, it's like an inside joke to a large group of people. And you're like, you're dreading it because it's some bullshit you've never heard of. And then you play it and this dance floor just gets swarmed and you don't know that's like their college's fraternity's funny song. Like whatever the fuck it is, So that does.
It's true. I agree with that. Yeah. But if you change it from must play to top plays, you just lower your liability.
Right.
If you want to think of it that way, I still try my best to play all of them. I definitely do. It just lowers your liability for them to be like, hey, you didn't play that one song from Rihanna, and you're like, oh,
So
it's not a
if
must
you put
play.
unless sucks, in parenthesis after must play, then that's solved. It's like
That's
I
true.
must play it unless it sucks.
So we have it set up right now that it's just called open dancing, but they're allowed 10 must plays in there if they want to, but most of them don't even realize how to make must plays, which is nice. But I'm training my guys to do this, but I actually nowadays with all the tools we have with stems and DJ edits and stuff like that, I like go for like my final planning meeting. I would say half of it to 2/3 of it is just talking about open dancing music and do not plays.
Interesting.
So I go in depth with like every song that's on there, and if it's not the traditional dancing music that we know, I'm asking questions around that and figuring out where we can work it in best, or if I can acapella this over a beat, and I'm pitching these ideas to the client. Like I did a wedding that was for was a wedding photographer, but her husband wasn't a wedding photographer, of course, but he was huge on like Creed and stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
Hey, Creed's big right now. Creed,
Take me higher.
Limp Bizkit is another one that used to be like, oh, fuck Limp Bizkit, but now everyone's all about
He was
Limp
into
Bizkit
that,
again.
but also he had a bunch of military guys there, and they wanted some military marching band music. So like we talked in depth as to how we can approach incorporating that into the wedding and not killing the vibe.
You're like, I'll play the beginning of that fucking Beyonce song, and that's it.
And I found some really cool ways to use Creed.
Can you keep up?
Like I found I found some DJ edits where I could literally plop in the drop, or just like on the after the drop, just switch to it. Or
dude,
there was really creative way. The wedding's coming out, the video vlog of it that has all this stuff in it. It's going to be coming out soon. But like it was we had a lot of. I love when the client it gets involved in that creativity of music too. They're just like thinking about ideas because, and I rattle through all the artists too. So like even if they don't have it on there, I'm going through every single one of the artists that are possibly polar artists at this point that I might go into, and then we heavily talk about do not play. Even like you could care less to hear, not just do not play, but like what is the stuff that I don't care for that. Like if that came on, I'm probably gonna keep dancing, but I just don't. I'm not gonna like it, and then I'm just gonna remove it completely. There's more music to work with than I know what to do with.
That's something I love that idea. That's something I need to do more. In my style, not all of my couples hire planners, and so I am getting into the nitty gritty of like what the timeline's like, and so a lot of my time is spent equally on every single section. But I need to start going through songs.
I've literally stopped spending. Same scenario. I used to spend a lot of time on the nitty gritty details, and I've literally just kind of stopped doing that altogether because it kind of tends to just figure itself out day of. As long as there's a list in an order, the timing and how this works this way, we can figure that out on the fly. And I just spend more time talking to them about what it is that's most important, which is
cool.
If they're booking me 9 times out of 10, they have a heavy waiver or not waiver, but opinion on kind of how they want the music and the evening and the event to be.
Yeah, I respect that. Talking about timelines, my couple this past weekend, the dad started changing into his tux a half hour before the ceremony, and he forgot his pants. So he drove 45 minutes away, and 45 minutes away. He was 45 minutes late for the wedding, and guys, we waited. And what's so funny is that I don't know if the guest really saw this, but this is also one of the venues in our area that I have 4 different setups. And so, guys, I was rushed. They rushed the cocktail hour from what was supposed to be an hour to like 10 minutes. No joke. They start inviting guests to be seated. The venue does. They start inviting the guests to be seated, and I'm still like making sure all my speakers and equipment in that room are ready. Yeah, and breaking down my ceremony. And it was just crazy. And it ended up all figuring itself out about 2 hours later. But yeah, that was crazy. And talking about cool musical things, Rick, something I did last year for an event, and this is something that I think everyone can start doing, is when you're in your consultations with your couples, ask them what their favorite movies are. Ask them what their favorite TV shows are. if they say Ted Lasso, for example, guys, go onto YouTube and type in Ted Lasso remix, and you will probably see a couple dozen songs on there. Rip them off of YouTube and then scatter them in there. I had a bride last year in Park City. She designs costumes for movies, and she really loves the movie The Incredibles, because she's like that little that little grandma gal who like creates all the costumes. People call her that all the time. Who is she? Who is she?
Dude. So,
Edna.
So you were talking the last time on this podcast about a Disney themed wedding. Or maybe it was Beauty and the Beast. I can't remember if it was Disney or Beauty and the Beast. But you were like, and I played Be Our Guest during...
Oh, yes, Be Our Guest.
I had that happen
whatever.
too.
So we were... Lindsay was doing a consult, right? Because I'm moving right now. So like Lindsay's always at my house and whatnot. And she's like working in the background. I'm doing random shit. Anyways, so I'm listening to her do a consult. And I overhear... some Disney shit, right? She's like going, like the bride's clearly Disney obsessed, and I was like, "Oh, Lindsay."
You just text her quick.
Tell her.
Pitch this.
I literally was like, "Tell him that one time we played fucking Be Our Guest during the cocktail hour, and it went off really well." And she'll be like, "Wow, that's such a good idea," and it happened. I was like, "Who fucking cares?"
Let me give context before we end here, so people understand what you're talking about, Eric. So I love doing really custom things. So for example, this wedding last year, she loved The Incredibles. I found like a remix of The Incredibles where a bunch of like the most common quotes were like over a cool beat, and I played it during dinner, and it was simple, but the bride and groom ate it up and loved it. So what Eric's talking about right there is a couple years back, they love Disney, and I got this idea from someone, from another DJ. It wasn't my idea, and basically I worked with a catering team, and before dinner was served, this was a plated meal. I basically said on the microphone, thank you so much for being here. We're excited, or we invite you all to be our guest. And then right as I said that, I played the Disney song, Be Our Guest, Be Our Guest, Put Our Service to the Test. And right as that song played, all of the waiters with the platters on their hands came out in a beautiful row. And they just all came out all together, and people naturally, without even asking for an applause, the whole room started clapping, because to them it was like a mini performance that you would see at like Disneyland. And it was all orchestrated by me. So always ask your couples what movies, what shows, what teams, where'd you graduate. You can play the college fight song and things like that. So super passionate about that type of unique stuff.
So I saw this on Brian B actually posted this on his story. He rarely posts stories from his events that he does, but he's doing a lot of destination, high-end clientele.
That's his thing, yeah.
That's his thing. And he posted this one thing that he's like, I do this for every couple. And I was like, and so what he does is he makes warm-up, like getting ready playlists for the bride and the groom and gives it to them on Spotify, like sends it to them, whether they use it or not. But he sends it to them and allows them to listen to it. And I was like, if I'm going through all this effort to talk to them about the music I'm about to play, what would be better than to put all that music into a playlist and give it to them beforehand, get them listening to it so that way they're pumped and ready to hear it on the dance floor.
Dude, I remember him sharing that, and I was impressed by that. And Rick, that one of the easiest ways to accomplish that in my mind is using AI.
Yeah.
So I import through Vibo. I can export all of my playlist dancing background to Spotify, and Spotify has this awesome feature at the very bottom where it says, "Here are suggested songs that go along with these." And all you do is you click add, and then you click refresh, and it gives you a whole new 10. And this is AI. This is artificial intelligence that's giving you recommended songs. So I feel like if you don't want to give them the exact songs that you're going to be playing throughout the night, you could just use that AI to create a Spotify of 50 songs or whatever.
It's all also on point too.
That is very
Spotify
similar
is
to what they recommended. And guys, I do this with the top 5 songs or the bride and groom's must plays, or not must plays, their top songs. I use that AI to find more ideas. So, anyways,
it is helpful. It is helpful, and it nails it. Because even because I like fucking some underground ass weirdo music, and Spotify fucking nails it when it's like, oh, have you heard this? And I'm like, wow, I actually haven't. This is great.
And it gives you ideas. It gives you fresh ideas. I use it every wedding,
Yeah.
or when I'm preparing for every wedding. I use the AI part of Spotify.
Cool. Well, we are currently 2 minutes over 7, but we also took 5 minutes for technical difficulties, so I guess it equals out, right? Right? Yeah. Anyways, Cooper, happy birthday.
I was gonna say, everyone wish Cooper a happy birthday.
Everybody put happy birthday in the chat wherever you are. If you have Cooper on social medias, go DM him, even if it's after the fact, and say happy birthday, happy 3-1.
Thanks, guys.
I just can't believe you're 31. Ugh.
How old are you?
33.
We're the same age, dude.
I'm about to
We're
be
not,
29.
No, you're definitely not.
We're all 2
definitely
years
not.
apart.
Me and
I'm 2
Cooper
years
way
less, 2
closer than you are. Talk to me in
What are you
1 year.
talking about?
Talk to me when you hit the
32,
3-0.
Oh, you and me are way
You're
far.
still on the
Cooper's
up and
in the middle.
up.
Cooper's in the middle of us, though.
See, your life is like this. After you hit 30, it's like that. And so me and Cooper can talk, but we can't talk.
That's why I'm doing all this health shit right now. This year's heavily involved in health-related stuff.
Yeah.
I could talk for days about all this shit I've learned with health. But the podcast is over.
Yeah, do the exit.
You want me? Why don't you do it?
What is it? So all right, I'll try.
This is gonna be great. This is gonna be great.
What's up, y'all? So like, if you're listening to this on Spotify or YouTube or some other shit, then you can listen to it on other stuff than what you are, and make sure you like and subscribe and share. And we're gonna catch you. We're doing this every other week. For now.
Yes, every other week.
We're switching, so we will be off next week and then on again the following week. Maybe.
I think it's Memorial Day week.
We'll see. But we're definitely not on next week. I can tell you that much.
We're good. It's the day after Memorial Day, so we should be fine.
We're all good. So we're on in 2 weeks. That's the new schedule. What'd I miss?
You did it all. You just lacked any of the details of those. You just kind of vaguely said everything I said.
It was like a D plus, but like it was.
I
it was
changed
still
my
a D,
voice.
so.
I was about to say, is that my voice? Is that your?
I don't know.
Hey guys,
That's how I
hey
make fun of
guys,
Rick behind his back.
Did you
Guys,
like, comment, subscribe down below?
thanks for having me on. It's always fun.
Cooper,
Yeah, no, this is great.
Cooper, before you go, where can they find you? Where do you want people to find you if they do not already find you?
Add me on Instagram, DJ Cooper Brown. My company's called One Above Entertainment. I'm based out of Utah. And always, if anyone wants to reach out, I have found so much value in reaching out to other people and asking questions. So if anyone ever wants to chat, just shoot me a message, a text, an email, and I would be happy to give any advice I can.
Awesome. Thank you, Cooper. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks, the day after Memorial Day, with another amazing guest that we'll figure out. But we're kind of recycling kind of some of our first initial guests, which Cooper was one of those. So
Yep.
thank you, Cooper. We'll
Thank
see
you,
you guys. Bye.
See ya.
Peace.